Yeah, there were times when I would joke around, and Ann would get a little uptight with me and think that I was
I knew
appreciating her.
he loved me, but I didn't know if he liked me when he critiqued me. And I've learned that he really does like me.
I like her a lot. But
And we just had to learn things about each other that
it takes
took
time.
years.
You know, it takes time to have a great marriage. It really does. It takes a lot of mistakes and stupidity, and you got to have stupidity to make a great marriage. Learn how to get rid of it.
These
But,
last years, with the kids out of the nest,
yeah,
the older three that we haven't talked about the children, that we produced 3 in 2.5 years. You could hardly do that.
oh
But
man,
by the time we went to our first little church, Sherry was 2.5, and Buddy was Margie was 1.5, and Buddy was brand new. And so when they were 17, 16, and 15, and we were in Pasadena, there was a little fella that needed a home that had just been born, and so we took a brand new one and adopted him too. And so we had 2 girls and 2 boys. The first 3 that we produced are all in the ministry, and the last adopted one, Nils, is everybody's delight. He is a police detective and does very dangerous work for Jesus' sake, and his Christian friends pray for him, and his wife is proud of him. Then we have 15 grandchildren, and we have 15 great-grandchildren.
Wow.
And we're going to have a lot more.
there's much more coming.
One of these days, you've heard it now. Take this from us, and you'll know it when it comes to pass. You're going to wake up in the morning, and the Ortlunds will have become the majority in the world, and we're going to take over.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Our kids are producers like we're producers. Our grandchildren are producers.
We have 3 grandsons right now that are in Scotland getting their PhDs for ministry, and they've got wives, and some of them have babies, and others coming along are in seminary already or planning on seminary, and so God is so
I
good.
have, there were 5 children in our family when I grew up, and I was the youngest. And this summer, in July, we're getting together. We're all living and doing okay.
The
we
5
have
brothers
the 5
and
brothers
sisters.
and sisters.
And spouses.
They are still living with and are happy Christian people with their own spouses. And there are well over 300 years of marriage between us.
That is so remarkable.
It really is.
So all 10 will be together in a couple of months.
Can you bottle any of the water from that farm?
Well, I'll tell you, it's been great to be a loving, happy family. Isn't it? We all think alike, although I think we probably do. But it's wonderful to see that we've had all these years together. My oldest brother is what, 91, I think, and he and his wife have been married 60-some years. My second brother is about the same, a year later, and so it's just been one long.
And they're
A lot of marriage, a lot of. Well, it was 9. No, dear, it was really 10.
both the parents were earnest Christians, very much leaders in their church. Swedish people were the church that preached in Swedish at first. My daddy was an army officer, and
He was a general.
he was saved when he and mother were saved together in a Bible class on the post at Fort Benning, Georgia, when I was 6 and my brother Bobby was 9. And I remember very well when they were saved. And from then on, all through the years, they taught Bible classes on all the army posts where Daddy was ever stationed, and led hundreds of officers and wives to Christ.
Wow.
We had 2 little sisters that came along after that, and one is, well, Bobby was a pilot in World War II, and his plane went down and he was killed. He left little 3-week-old sons, twins, when his plane went down. My 2 sisters are both earnest believers, as Bobby was. One is married to a pastor, Presbyterian pastor, and the other to a Presbyterian elder. And
We had a meeting of her family over here in Newport
a
Beach,
reunion.
and there were 81 people,
Gee.
and all of them were believers.
Mm.
And
Everybody
the little kids
came.
are going to be, or they'll get their tar beaten out of them. But
Nobody was absent.
nobody was absent, and there was no divorces, and it isn't to this day.
Mm.
Isn't that amazing?
Well, you have an amazing family legacy that's been established.
God is so
It's
good.
incredible.
Yeah.
They came from 3 continents because they were ministering in Africa and in China. And a lot of their kids are now in the ministry as well.
But the power of a Iowa couple and a Kansas couple raising the families. And you know, there's no one that's a star in the family.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Just
there really
people.
is just people.
Mm-hmm.
But the power of that, and as far as I know, there's no divorce.
The Holy Spirit has been so kind to us to let us write books. We've done 26 along the way through the years. And Ray was for 17.
Of course, nobody reads them. But
Ray was for 17 years a speaker on Haven of Rest radio, so we had that delight. Eventually it just became too much because it was 2 full-time jobs.
and you know, radio ministry, like the Haven, it throws you on the Lord. You are thrown on the Lord for
It
it.
keeps
You don't
coming
see
every day,
anyone.
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, you're on the air every day. You have to write it and write it and write it, and then you get on
Time
the air,
it to
time
the
it,
second.
record it, and you throw it out there for the Lord to bless. And I think over and over again, God has let Ann and I get in situations where it's either God or total collapse, you know. And you have to walk by faith. And I think together, one of the great joys we've had, and Ann is bold in this, and I'm more chicken, but one of the great joys we have is walking by faith, just going out and do it. By nature, I'm a person who doesn't do that easily, but God makes me do that. And
Well,
it's wonderful.
the miracle is, and one of the reasons I admire you so much, is that you're slightly dyslexic. You had to practically memorize those scripts before you put them on the air, and they went around the world. And reading is
Well,
not an easy thing for you.
But I love to read. I always have a
Yeah, that's
read
hard
in
for
my
me to
car.
believe. With looking at this library.
Yeah,
He loves to read. He always has a
but-
book in his hand.
yeah.
He saw Dr. A.W. Tozer one time, ran into him. He was one of our gurus also.
Yeah, Moody Bookstore. He was there, and I went over to him and I said, Dr. Moody, Dr.
Tozer.
Tozer, you quote all the saints, you quote all the great books.
And
the
pastored a
past.
church as well.
Yeah, and pastored a church. I said, when do you get to do all this reading? And he said, I always have a book in my hand. If I'm on the train in Chicago, I've got a book in my hand. Whatever I'm doing. So I've tried to copy that. There are 2 books in my car right now that if I have to be somewhere and I can squeeze in 15 minutes or 5 minutes just to read, it really is a good thing to do. And so...
And though he reads slowly, he knows what he read when he's done. I can whip through things, and I used to do that in college, just enough to get by the test, and then I
She's
could forget
disgustingly smart.
it.